How you doing? Let's look at Cloud Consulting, and today we're going to cover the big announcements by the CEO of Amazon during this 2.5 hour keynote. We're going to cut it down into like 3 or 4 minutes. I'll have timestamps of where you can go and get more information from the actual keynote, because we're just going to summarize it here. So let's get into it. The first thing that they announced is $1 billion of credits are going to AI startups. Now, this will bring companies onto the AWS platform with these credits, and they know that over time they'll get the money back, and at the same time they'll be able to establish a brand of having AI startups come to AWS. They also talked about their work in custom silicon, which we touched on yesterday with the Graviton 4, which is a chip that they've produced which is much more efficient, much better performance, as well as the Trainium 2 Ultra server, which is designed for training large-scale AI models. And so it looks like big names like Adobe, Databricks, and Qualcomm are already leveraging these technologies. So next up, to talk about storage and databases. So yesterday we talked about disaggregated storage. So today we're talking about how AWS has launched S3 Table Buckets, which is a new feature designed to supercharge analytics and AI tasks, basically having tables in S3, which is pretty cool. They've also introduced a new globally distributed database called Aurora DSQL, and this promises to bring high availability and super low latency to cloud databases. They also have some customer success stories. JPMorgan Chase, they're sharing their cloud adoption journey, modernizing global banking operations with AWS. So that's from core banking systems to leveraging GenAI for internal tools, really kind of pushing the boundaries as to where this stuff's going, because I suppose a lot of the thinking with AI is that it's the forefront, and that companies such as like financial services companies who often run on legacy systems may not be leveraging these tools. And so this is a good example of why, as an enterprise, as a company, you have to modernize your infrastructure to the cloud to then be able to leverage these GenAI capabilities. Speaking of GenAI capabilities, AWS's Bedrock also got a major spotlight. It has new capabilities like model distillation, which they say makes adoption 500% faster and 75% cheaper. And so it's clear that AWS wants to make GenAI practical for every business. And you can see that from some of the interviews with the CEO, that he talks about how, GenAI like chatbots is cool. It's a nice tool, but they really want to implement GenAI across the business. And don't worry, AWS didn't forget about developers. Tools like Code Whisperer are here to make coding easier, and new autonomous agents can help automate things like unit testing, documentation, and even code reviews. On top of that, they've introduced AI tools to simplify migrating legacy systems, so whether that's Windows, VMware, or mainframes. AWS is something to cut down costs and time for modernization projects. So that's kind of like what I was talking about with JPMorgan, which is you have to adopt the cloud, you often have to do like a lift and shift and then a kind of app modernization, so a migration, then a modernization. And then from there, you're able to then leverage GenAI capabilities. And an example here as well is with VMware. There's a whole thing about VMware where people try to get off of it. So I'm sure AWS will be covering how to optimally do that. And so what I'm hearing here is that they're trying to create an AI infrastructure that attracts companies to come onto it. And they're trying to attract everyone from startups to just jump straight into the GenAI stuff, or they're kind of funneling larger enterprises through, as I was just saying, this initial migration, then modernization, and then now the use of these GenAI applications. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to talk about in the days to come. If you want to get updated by text, check out the newsletter below. If you want to see it on video, me chatting about it, subscribe and come back tomorrow. Anyway, take care and I will see you later.